Yeah.
This one, Indian philosophical systems. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so Purva Mimamsa, six Astik Darshana, Astik, and three Nastik Darshanas. Now, why they are called Astik, why Nastik, there's no time to get into that now. But if you are interested, you ask me at the end of this presentation. So we have six Astik Darshanas. Astik, right now, take them as Vedic Darshanas. The Darshanas, the philosophies that accept Veda as the ultimate source of knowledge. Among them is Purva Mimamsa, then Uttar Mimamsa, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, and Vaisheshika. So Veda Vyasa is the one who compiled the Vedas, who edited them, and who, earlier it is said Vedas were one branch of knowledge, so it was difficult to follow them. So he, classified them into Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharv Veda, and to make it easy. And Vedas have two sections, broad sections. One is called the Karma Kanda, one is the Jnana Kanda. So Jnana Kanda is knowledge of the self. You want to know yourself. And Purvamamsa is called the Karma Kanda, in which you want things from the world. Suppose I want to have a good dinner, I have to go and eat it. I have to do something. And if I'm at home, I have to cook it, or somebody should cook for me, and or I have to order it from a restaurant or something. So this one, you have to do something, right? Action is more important in Purvamamsa. And to know yourself, do you think action is required? Any kind of action? I'll close this slide. Now, is this visible, this slide? This one? Uh, Pragyaji, is this slide visible?
I can only see a blank slide.
Okay. Now?
Yes,
Now?
science of, it says science of interpreting
Yeah.
Vedic
Okay.
sentences.
All
Okay.
right. So, okay, let's start with this. Mimamsa Darshana. Darshana means philosophy, but it's not just intellectual thing. This is darshana, to see, because intellectually you can keep arguing till the end of the world and you'll reach nowhere. So you have to see it, you have to experience it. So that's why in Sanskrit the word is darshana. What is Mimamsa? So I'll come to that soon. So this is the science of interpreting Vedic sentences, Vedic injunctions, Vedic mantras. How do you interpret them? Okay, now the current situation is such that all intellectuals say they hold objective reasoning very highly. It should be objective. There should be no subjectivity inside, So they believe in objective reasoning, objective observation of experiments. That's what science teaches us. I should not let my personal feelings interfere in the experiment, right? The subjectivity is believed to lead to prejudiced conclusions. You know. Now the question is there something called objective reasoning or objective observations? You may put it in the chat. I want to see how many of you believe that there is something called objective reasoning. Is it possible? First of all, I would like to ask you, if you want to, respond at the end of the presentation, no problem. See, if we all could, if reason objectively, then why should there should be no argument at all, no debate? Because you would see a thing the same way, I would see it the same way. So where would be any disagreement, right? However, we have noticed same thing is interpreted differently by different people. Forget about philosophy. Even a painting, something like, say, Mona Lisa's painting, I'm sure all of you, it's the most famous painting in the world. Each one of you will describe it differently. So if Mona Lisa painting is something objective, if beauty is objective, then why are we interpreting it differently? Why are we talking it or differently? Because that's how it is. Each one of us is different. The world outside might be the same for all of us, but how I see it is different from how you see it. That's why there are debates. So, nasti kaschid darshanaha yasya na virodaha paraihi krita. There is no philosophy that has not been criticized by others. Can you point out one single a viewpoint which has not been opposed by others? Vedanta itself has so many opponents. I showed you those darshanas, three this side, the Charvak, Jain, and Buddhists. They don't accept the Vedic darshanas. Although Vedic darshanas also were written by rishis, and they were also rishis, so they don't accept it. So every philosophy is challenged by others. Then nasti kaschid rishihi yasya na doshaha paraihi krita. There is no sage, there is no rishi whose ideas have not been objected to. You'll always find some opposition, no matter what you say. Why is this? This is because munde matir bhinna. Every head, inside every head, the intellect is different. Okay? Although we are humans, but I think differently, you think differently, each one of us. Your own, say, let's say, brothers and sisters, they think differently on the same matter. Your children, they are yours, but they also see them differently. And what's most surprising, what I thought 20 years ago, I don't think the same now. It changes. Whatever, certain philosophies I didn't like then, certain things I didn't like then, now I like them. Certain things I liked, now I don't like. So it keeps changing. Munde matir bhinna, every head has a different intellect. Kunde navam paya. Just like every well, there is water in all the wells, but the taste of that water is different. All the water is one, but because of the kind of well it is in, the kind of earth it's surrounded by, the taste changes. Jato navacharaha. Every society has its own culture, its own customs. So we might find their customs very funny, strange. They find our customs very funny and strange. Then navavani mukhe. Each person, each person has a different ways of interpreting things. It will never be the same. So objectivity, where is objectivity then? In such a case, how do we decide what the words of text such as the Vedas actually mean? If each individual thinks differently, all the scholars, even Vedic scholars, they differ. They read the commentaries, one says something, but not totally different, but at some points, there is always a difference. So it's to overcome this problem that Mimamsa Sutras were written. So the problem is not so hopeless. There is a way out. And Mimamsa Sutras were written. The word Mimamsa means desire to know, but through rational analysis, not just blind faith, right? Not just by order, just somebody says this is how it is. You are not supposed to accept it just like that. You are supposed to use your analytic skills. Even if the guru, see, the guru knows more than us. But whatever initially we have to accept whatever the guru says, but after you reach a certain stage, then you may, have your difference of opinion on certain things. Now, this is not seen as a revolt against a guru. It is encouraged by the guru actually. A good guru will always say, see, I have taught you so much, now you analyze it and you add something to it, not just keep on parroting what I taught you. So Mimamsa Darshana mainly deals with Vedic injunctions and the ways to interpret them properly. Now, I've already told you, Vedas are Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda is about doing something, right? Now, if you want education, you have to go to school. Then later on, you want a job, to make money, you have to work. Money won't come just like that. Then you need a partner, you have to do something. Everything you have to do. You want a vehicle, you have to do something. It won't just appear like that. So that's why karma is important. Actions are important. right? On the contrary, Gyan Kanda is the knowledge of our own self. To know who I am, now there nothing has to be done. We have to just reason properly. Now I'm seeing things wrongly. Then later on, the Guru teaches me how to see things properly. That's all. Of course, something has to be done, but not physically so much, not that kind of work. It's just knowing yourself. So for Gyan Kanda, in Brahma Sutra, the first sutra says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. And now begins the inquiry of to know what is Brahma, what is that ultimate Atma. So this is the one. So this is about knowing, whereas Purva Mimamsa is about doing. So when you want to do something, there are many ways of doing, right? This lecture could have been a real like offline lecture also. Right now it is through Zoom. You could have used Google Meet. You could have done something else. You could have used Skype or some such thing, right? There are so many ways of doing it. The time could have been different. Anything is possible. So there, how to do comes in, you know. Like I have to make money to make a living. Now I have many options. I could do a job, I could start a business, I could borrow from, live off my parents' money. There's so many things. Or I could even steal, rob a bank or something. I could also make money illegally. That's also work. There are different ways of doing it. So now the question is which one to do. So that's where this analysis comes. That's where dharma jigyasa. Now talk about what is dharma. See, here it is athato dharma jigyasa. Now, what is dharma? So this school was founded by Maharshi Jaimini. As I told you, uh, Maharishi Vyasa, he compiled the Vedas, and Maharshi Jaimini was his more ablest disciple. So he said, you write on the Karma Kanda part, I'll write on the Gyan Kanda part. So he wrote the Brahma Sutra and other things, the Uttar Mimamsa, and his disciple, Maharshi Jaimini, wrote the Purva Mimamsa. Okay. Now, it may surprise you, although Upanishads are very important, the Purva Mimamsa is 98% of the Veda. All that literature that we have is 98%. And Uttar Mimamsa is hardly 2%. Because Uttar Mimamsa is about knowing yourself. How many of us are actually interested in knowing ourselves? Most of us want things. I want a good partner, I want good children, I want money, I want a good job, etc. I want name, fame, etc. So there are many things to be done. So that's why that's longer. But to know yourself, it's nothing much to be explained, only some. They have to teach you how to see properly, that's all. So that's why the Uttar Mimamsa is very short. See, Mimamsa Darshana is twice the length of all other 5 darshanas put together. See, imagine what a big canvas it has. It deals with 1,000 Vedic topics. They are called Adhikaranas. It consists of 16 chapters, and most of the chapters have 4 sub-chapters. And this deals mainly with dharma. See, dharma only comes when there is action involved. In other things, dharma is not required. So Vaisheshik opens with athato. Now, the thing is, in Vaisheshik also, the word dharma is used. Athato dharmam vyakhyasyaamaha. We shall now interpret dharma. So now how do I know whether Vaisheshik, the use of word dharma is the same as by this Mimamsa Darshan? How do I know? So how do we know things? We'll come to that. So Mimamsa is primarily concerned with dharma, understood as action prescribed by the Vedas. We on our own can never know which action is right, which is wrong. Most of the time you'll be stuck. But you do it because of conditioning or so many reasons, but we can't ultimately say whether an action is to be done or not. So dharma, I'm sorry, there is some problem here. in the PDF, but I'm sure you can guess. Dharma motivates us to do something or avoid doing something. It tells us do this and don't do that. This is dharma. So chodana lakshano artho dharma. This is the second sutra of this. Now the question of dharma arises only in connection with actions, because actions can be righteous actions or they can all be unrighteous actions. And they make matters worse. What you called righteous, I may call unrighteous. It's quite possible, right? Eating meat is all right with most people, but with some people it's sinful. Why? So that's the problem with all this. So we can never settle on what action is righteous and what's unrighteous. So we have to know the nature. Oh, this is bad. There are too many. I don't know why these question marks have come. It's only in the beginning. After that, it's okay. All right. How are we to go about knowing dharma? What are the means of knowing? So, this Mimamsa Darshan first tells us how to know things. How do we know things? One, we know through direct sense perception. I'm seeing you all through my eyes, and I'm, whatever you speak, my ears tell them, tell me what you're saying. So this is called sense perception. But only a small fraction of knowledge we get through sense perception. Most of it is anumana, inference. So inference is when you, without actually observing a thing, you know it. For instance, when you get up in the morning, open the windows, and see all the roads, the ground, everything is wet. Now there is a lot of water outside. So then you do anumana. You infer that it must have rained last night. Pragyaji, if there are any questions, please interrupt me, because when I'm speaking, I can't read the
Sure.
question or
No, no,
something.
I was about to. I have two.
Yes.
One is which dhatu Mimamsa came from.
Okay, we'll see that later. I haven't written that because thinking that it is just the presentation thing. So, and what else? What's the other one?
Another question which I have is there a book published on this subject
Of course,
by
there are many.
YSS? I mean, what is YSS? I'm not sure.
Produced by YSS. What is
Yes.
YSS? Maybe the person.
Anoopji, if you could just elaborate on what YSS means. And if you want, you can take another question.
Unmute. Okay, what's the other question?
Can you explain the word Nastik?
Okay. Oh, should I answer this at the end of this? Because just
Yeah,
little is
that's what
left.
I'm
Let me
saying. I
finish
mean,
that.
nothing
Okay. Yeah.
pressing, so we can.
Yeah, just remember that question.
Okay.
Okay, so this anumana is inference. Without seeing the rain actually falling, you infer that it must have rained. So this is, and how do we know? Shabda pramana. Most of the things we know through Shabda pramana, through a uh, authority in that subject. If I ask you uh, about the movement of the earth, is it stationary? You will say, no, it's not stationary. Then I'll say, well, does it move? You say, yes, it moves. Around what? You'll say it moves around the sun, right? And you are right when you say that. But the thing is, you haven't seen that yourself. You haven't seen that yourself. So you trusted somebody. So there are books on science which you trust, and they say the earth goes around the sun. And even the scientists who wrote that, they never went into space, stayed there for 3 or 4 years to check whether earth really went around this. No, it's all inference. Science is 99% inference. Observation is also there, but they infer most of the things. Then upamana, by comparison. We know many things by comparison. For instance, I ask you, I saw a I saw let's say yesterday, and you ask me what is panther. Now I can suppose I can show you a picture, but if it's not available, then I'll ask you, have you seen a tiger? You say, yes, I've seen a tiger. It's something like a tiger. So you get a fair, upamanam is comparison. You get a fair idea of what it is like. Okay, then arthapatti is a kind of deduction which you do. So, and anuplabdhi, this is a very important. Anuplabdhi is not seeing something. All right. Now, this pen is on my hand. Okay. Now, what's on my hand? Or what's not on my hand? Are there any responses to that? Suppose you enter a room, there is an apple there. You go to the other room, come back. Then what do you say? You don't see the apple. Then what do you say? The plate is empty. You don't see the apple. What would you say? What would you say? Normal expression. Not great philosophy here. Just what would you say? If there's somebody in the room, what would you ask them? Or what would you ask yourself?
I have an
What are the
answer here. Empty, nothing is there.
correct. No, empty, nothing is there. You don't say. Normally, what would you say? The apple is not there, won't you?
Where is the apple gone?
Where
This
has
is
the
it.
apple gone?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say where has the why didn't you say where has the orange gone? Where has the melon gone or something else gone? Right? So because earlier you saw something there, now that thing. So remember, absence is always of something. Absence by itself is impossible according to Vedas. Nothingness by itself, like one of you said, there is nothing on the sun. Nothingness by itself doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you just in language you say, oh, there's nothing on it because earlier you didn't see anything. So as you enter, I ask, is there something on the plate? You say there's nothing. But nothing is not an entity or something. It is just you're saying there's no particular thing over there. But once you have seen a thing, and when the thing is not there, you'll always say that particular thing is not there. Now, this is very important. Why it's important? Now, we can't get into that discussion. So it accepts 6 methods of knowing, right? And it accepts the Vedas. Shabda Pramana is the most important thing. Because Vedas, the Astic people believe Vedas were not written by humans. They came to the great rishis when they were in deep state of meditation. So it's not their knowledge. And therefore, it's knowledge of the Paramatma, whatever you want to call it. And this is perfect knowledge. And you can't challenge it. Of course, you can ask questions, some things you don't understand. All right. So Mimamsa is a profound blend of Nyaya, logic, and Vyakarana. Vyakarana is grammar. And because it interprets the Vedas, Vedic sentences, it's the hermeneutics of the Vedas. It interprets them and helps us to understand the Vedics. So it shows the principles of interpretation, that's called Mimamsa, methods of resolving apparent contradictions in the Vedic text. Sometimes, in Vedic text, there are some contradictions, so this resolves them. And metaphysical and linguistic theories, it deals with them. The concept of apurva. Apurva is something which we don't know, but which affects our whatever we do. Like when you want something, you never get exactly the way how much you work. That is karma. Karma phala is always uncertain. Why is it uncertain? Because of the apurva. I can say this very boldly that we never ever get exactly how much we work for. The amount of work I put in for something, the result is never equal to the work I've done. Often it is less than it, often it's a lot more than it. often it's opposite of what I wanted to do, but it is never equal to what I did. So this we can, whenever you join the class, we can discuss there, or maybe after the end of this presentation. So about language, and then the main theme of Mimamsa is whatever we do in this world, why do we do? What do you think? Why do we do things? Some of you may be lawyers, some of you may be business person, some of you may be, or some of you are studying all these things. Why? Why are you doing all this? Most of us make money. Why do I make money? Why do I make a house? Why do we look for a life partner? Why do we start a family? This is, we do this to get happy, to become happy. We think if we have a lot of money, we'll be happy. If we have a nice partner, wife or a husband, we'll be happy. If we have good children, that will, does it? So the direct pursuit of happiness only ends up in misery. If you just want to, you may have seen people who straight away go to, material things. By happiness, generally material things, the end is always misery. So according to the Vedas, there are 4 Purushasthas, goals of life. You know this: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. See, basically, it's all kama that we want. Kama is desirable things. This is what we want, right? And we like to get it straight away. But this Vedas say no, there's no harm. Certainly, you must get things you desire, but you need artha before that. Artha is resources, infrastructure, money. So you need money to get those things. In other words, you want a thing, don't steal it from others. You make your own money. Now, this money could also be made through illegal means. So, no, dharma. So, dharma comes first. So, first is dharma. And moksha, this is the ultimate purushartha. So, once you realize that karma, no matter how many things I earn, how much money I'm not happy, then you want permanent happiness, because no matter what we gain in this world, it's always temporary. Initially, it will give us happiness, then it will decline. The law of diminishing marginal utility. So it's going to decline after that. So then we may look for moksha. We want to get out of this problem. All right. So through dharma arises both resources and pleasure. Both they have to go. So why one must not follow dharma? You know, why most of us don't follow dharma? So it says the logic is inconclusive. Same thing, one person argues, other person gives equally good arguments, so you don't know what to do. Scriptures also tell different things. There's no single sage whose word is final authority. And the essence of dharma is hidden in a cave, that means it is very secret. So the path followed by great ones, that's the path to follow. So this is what Vedanta says. He says we can't decide. So when we can't decide, normally we ask the elders, right? Those who are experts in the field, we do that. So, and that's what Vedic, this Mimamsa Darshana teaches us. It teaches us how to do things in a dharmic way, righteous way. And how do we interpret them? There are Shadlingas. How do we do? One, when we see a Vedic statement, first we should go for direct word, primary word meaning of it. If it says you should do Agnihotra karma, then it's clear, so direct. But sometimes direct word meaning doesn't work. Then we go to linga, that is inference. That doesn't work, then you go to vakya. Then we see the syntax and connection, contextual unity. Even if that doesn't work, then we go for the context. In what context is this thing said? For example, the word dharma in Vaisheshika is spoken in a different context, and in Mimamsa is spoken in a different context. So we should know the context. Sthana, location in the placement of the test. In the test, where does it appear, this word? So that's important. And Sankhya, if that doesn't work, then etymology of the word we have to go through. And all that doesn't work, then we go to your guru, go to the Vedas. If that also doesn't give us meaning, then we wait for intuition. That will happen, believe me. When nothing works, you just stop thinking and relax. One day you will get the answer, right? So the ultimate is to fulfill the goals of life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So what does it say? Mimamsa Darshana not merely, so it's people think it's about rituals, yajna and all that. Please, it's not about that alone. And it doesn't cover all the yajnas. It only tells us how to understand the most important injunctions regarding yajnas. And Mimamsa Darshana, what we learn from it, how to logically, how to reason and understand things, and whatever it teaches us can be applied to other shastras also, other darshanas also, and even in our daily life. Our Indian legal system borrowed a lot from Mimamsa Darshana. They have borrowed a lot. The method of arguing, they have borrowed a lot from this. So with this, I end my presentation. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't take more time than I had intended to. Okay, now one question was there, right? Regarding Nastik, Astik.
Yes.
Yeah, let me answer that. Regarding the Dhatu, right now I can't remember, so I'll maybe if you join the class, I'll let you know. Okay, I don't know how many of, okay, Nastik. Sorry, first Astik. When you put a dash over A, then you have to pronounce it as A, elongated. Astik. If there are some Sanskrit people who know Sanskrit here, can you tell me what Asti means? Lekhani Asti. Lekhani Asti. What does it mean? Okay, doesn't matter. Astik Darshan is one that accepts Veda as the Pramana. Veda as a source of knowledge, the ultimate source of knowledge, not just the source of knowledge. And Nastika is those who don't accept the Vedas. No, Astik. Got it? So when you join them, it becomes Nastik. This is generally what we are taught. But my own understanding is slightly different. Asti means is. Got it? Asti means is. See, for example, Pustakam Asti. So this is a book. No, idam pustakam asti. This is a book. So asti means this. Right? Asti, sorry, asti means is. This is something that exists. Na asti, opposite of it, is not. All right. So Astika says Atma is. Right? Atma is the only thing that exists. Atma exists, it says. In fact, that's the only thing exists. Everything else keeps changing. These other three, Charvak, Buddhists and Jain, they say Atma is not there. Does not exist. Na asti. Atma na asti. It's not the na means no, negation. So that's why the name came Astik Darshana, Nastik Darshana. Atma, you got it? Is it clear? Please give me the, if somebody can they unmute themselves while speaking?
Yes. I was just about to announce
Yeah,
this.
I think.
So whoever has a question, if you would like to ask directly, please raise your hands. I can unmute. I'll have to unmute them. They'll have to raise the hand, but we can do that. And in the meanwhile, you can do another. Okay, there are two more questions, Kuldeep ji here. Ramesh ji and Madhuri ji, I'll just unmute you after this. Will the difference between Bhatta's and Prabhakara interpretations of Mimamsa Darshana be covered in the course? And
Yes,
whose
yes.
bhashya will the course use?
This one, the famous Bhashya, Shabar Bhashya is the main one. So we'll be, but the thing is, we have no time to go through the Bhashya directly because it's such a long, see, like this, there are 5 more books like this. So it's just not possible to do it in 11 plus 11 classes with Bhashya, So, and everybody, may not be yet ready for it. Okay, so this will just give you a very broad idea of what Mimamsa Darshan is, so that later on, if you want, you can do a deeper study. We may not be able to even finish chapter 1 because the nature of thing is that. So, but what I do is whatever I say will be largely based on the bhashyas. All right. Largely it will be based on that, but we can't take bhashya like word by word, sentence by sentence. That's not possible because then I think we won't be able to do in one sutra in the level. It's very long. It's the longest darshanas, and then each bhasha you have to explain. Bhasha is not just simple Sanskrit. That's again very complex. Then you have to explain that further, and then there'll be debates and all that. So I'm sorry, we won't be able to do bhasha. I mean, in this sense, directly. We'll be
Detailed.
drawing from the bhasha. Yeah, and not we'll be using it, but we can't do that. There's no time for that. Archun
Okay.
Anuradha, what's it? Any books recommended to study on my own? See, Mimamsa,
Study. Mhm. Please go ahead, Kuldeep ji. I'll then allow Ramesh ji to ask you a question.
I won't advise you to study Mimamsa on your own. Not easy to. There maybe you can check the net. There are many books, but it's not advisable, especially in translation, and especially non-Indian languages like English. English translation, they are just terrible. They mislead you. Not that they want to mislead you, but they are they can't help it. Ramesh ji
Yeah.
has raised it.
How can yajna ever achieve anything? Yajna require just uh, putting ghee on the fire and then Om Shivaya, just Jnana Shivaya, Shasti Shivaya. How can this achieve anything by just yajnas? That's the only problem I have thinking about. I like
Okay, if
Vedas.
you if that's your problem, then this Purva Mimamsa is not for you. Then you should go for Uttar Mimamsa. You should study the Upanishads. That's your, because you seem to be more of a rational kind of a person who wants proof and all that. Now, the problem with most of these things is you have to do and see. Just by thinking and about it and not agreeing about something, it won't work. You have to do it and do it properly, and then if it doesn't work, okay, then don't accept it. You're not forced to accept this. So poor Mimamsa, that's uh, that's what I said. Most of the things will have problems. Many people have problems with the Agyas, and there are so many other things. You'll have problems. So if you can bypass this Purva Mimamsa, fine. Then you can go to Uttar Mimamsa, nothing like it. But most of us can't do that. We have to go through first, do this. See, because see, our own scriptures say Purva Mimamsa can give you only worldly things. All right. And for example, in the past, when it is not rain, they would have some yajna, and it is believed that it is to rain. And if you want a good wife or a husband, you do something, some yajnas, you get a good wife or husband. If you are not getting children, then for crops there are different yajnas, for diseases there are different mantras and all that. Now the thing is, most of that in the modern age we think they are unscientific because we have been brought up to believe that it's unscientific. Okay, now if you think modern science can do that, fine. But even our own scriptures, they say whatever you get from Purva Mimamsa is always temporary. Okay, even if you get, say, a good job, that good job is not permanent. You're going to lose it one day or the other. If you have a, if you got a good wife, a good husband, that's also not permanent. You never know who is going to leave first. And children also, they never with you all the time. When they grow up, they leave the nest. So it'll be only temporary. That doesn't mean you shouldn't get these things, but you must always remember whatever you get by doing, by doing action. By doing action, that will be always, first of all, limited, and then it will be temporary. And the maximum Purva Mimamsa can give you is heaven. If you do good job, a lot of good karmas, you can get heaven. If you do bad karmas, you get hell. All right. But unlike other religions, the Hindu hell and heaven, they are not permanent. Even if you're a great person, you do a lot of good jobs, so you may get 10,000 years in heaven. You may get 20,000 years in heaven. Never mind. It'll end one day. You have to come back here and suffer again. Same thing with hell. Once you have, suffered enough, you come back and get into this again. And even in heaven, there is hierarchy. You do good thing. Don't think you are going to sit in, on Indra's throne next to Urvashi. You won't get her there. You'll get somebody else, but you won't get Urvashi because your karma is less than that. So generally, this will not give you lasting happiness. I'm teaching this, but I'm telling you, we have to be frank about it. We should not raise false hopes because it's clearly mentioned in the Shastras themselves. They say that whatever you get in this world through whatever means is never permanent. Tell me anything that is permanent which you got. We can debate about this. Anybody wants to unmute and speak,
Yeah,
Even
I
one.
have a question, Kuldipji. I'm 90
Yes.
years old, and right from the childhood, I'm seeing Avan, and I always think it is a waste of ghee and milk when people wash shivling with the milk and put the ghee in the fire. There are people who don't get milk, and there are people who don't have even ghee to put on their bread. And I never have accepted this that we are wasting sources. What is your understanding?
All right. My understanding of this is the thing is when we don't understand something, all these questions will arise. Okay, depends upon, as I said, the viewpoint will always be different. That's what Mimamsa is talking about. No two people think, you think it as a waste of resources. Somebody else may think it purifies the environment. Yajna is not just ghee, they also knew that it's a waste, but it is not waste. It does something to the environment. And all those offerings, some rice or grains and all they're asked to do. So that's not, they think it's not a waste. See, you're 90 years old, when you go to wherever you go, you probably use a car or something. Now I can say, why are you wasting fuel? That same fuel, the money you can save and poor people in other parts of the world, that money could be paid. Electricity, how much water we waste in the shower, in the tub and all that. So why don't we apply the same logic there? We eat outside, we waste so much food, we waste resources and all that. A little bit ghee, if it goes into yajna, that's considered a very big thing. That's because some people who want us to not believe in our own traditions. From the childhood, and we were told that, even we used to think like that all this is rubbish, this is blind faith. But is it? After doing it, you decide whether it's blind faith or not, but not because somebody is saying. Like that, everything we do, I can always, I live in a place, I could always live in a small hut and save the rent and give it to the poor. We don't do that. How many of us do that? So that's my little answer to it. And as I said, this yajnas, etc., will always, some people will have problem with it. So if you have problem, then don't study. Then forget Mimamsa. Do go for Gyan Kanda. In Hinduism, they give you a choice. There's a choice. It's not that everyone has to study Mimamsa. But what I'm saying is, don't give it up without doing it.
Exploring.
Now you are at 90. Did you go to a guru and study, how to do yajna? Did you learn Mimamsa? Did you learn the yajnas properly? Somebody, Chaudhary ji, you asked the question.
Yeah, I heard your answer. Thank you.
No, what I'm asking is, did you go to a guru?
No, I'm just talking to.
Okay.
You said ask the question, so I'm asking. You are asking me a question. No, I didn't
Yeah,
go to Guru.
yeah. So then, without going to a guru, without studying, then you can't. You should not dismiss it. Okay. After studying, then you can dismiss it. No problem. You studied under a guru and you found it useless. Okay, it's useless. It's this many people. I told you, even our texts, they criticize in the sense, they say, they don't criticize, they are not saying don't do yajna, but they say whatever you get from yajna will be temporary. It will not be permanent. And there were opponents always. That's why the Buddhists and Jainis, they opposed our yajnas. At that time they said, what's all this? You're wasting time, wasting resources and all that. So this difference was, this opposition was always there, and it will always remain. Nobody can convince the other person. Yeah, but sometimes some people, but I would say we can reject anything, but only after experiencing it. Without that, yes, anything.
Yes, Kuldeepji, we have more questions. So
Yeah.
here is one. What are the expectations from students in terms of assignments, paper, quiz, and exams? Just trying to understand the time commitment required for the course.
This course, typically a class officially is 1.5 hours. 1 hour of teaching, half an hour of discussion, etc. Okay. But sometimes it extends depending upon your response. If you want to discuss a little more, I don't mind giving more time. So that's how it is. Regarding assignment, there will be 4 questions at the end of 11 classes, and roughly 500 words. You have to answer them in 500 words each question, 4 questions. Every week there won't be any question. No quiz, nothing. It's just 4 simple questions at the end of the assignment. The knowledge of Sanskrit is not necessary. If you don't know Sanskrit, it won't be an handicap, I promise you. And I'll typically give you the notes also. Everything will be typed. You'll get it in PDF form. Today there was some problem in that PDF. Sometimes it happens. So I have to just make a new file and.
Yeah, if
So
I may add to this, self-study for about 2 hours a week, 1.5, 2 hours a week. And for people who do not know Sanskrit, I've taken a class with Kuldeepji, and trust me, you will not feel that you do not know Sanskrit. He taught us every word, so, it was like we came out not only learning the subject matter that was being taught, but also Sanskrit. At least whatever was required in the text, he really explained it, and explained it very well.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Kuldeep.
see,
Yeah.
Sanskrit is, if you know, at least if you can read it, like if you can read Devanagari, that is, if you can read Hindi or Marathi, or one of these languages, if you can read that, that's enough. If you can't, no problem. It won't be a handicap, I assure you, because whatever I write in, say, Sanskrit, in Devanagari, I also transcribe it into Latin. So those who don't know the script, they can learn from there. And that's not, again, so important. The idea is, it'll teach you how to reason. It'll teach you how to ask questions. It'll, how to reason properly. That's the most important thing. See, it's not, if you want to learn yajnas and all that, then this is not the course. Then you have to, there are other Hindu university offers other courses, where yajnas are taught. This is, Mimamsa Darshan is about reasoning, about interpreting Vedic, statements. It's about that. So it's about logic, it's about grammar, it's about, etymology, such things. And believe me, once you study this, you will be able to use these techniques in your life also. Any philosophy which you can't use in life is useless. Okay, that philosophy doesn't make
We
sense.
have Tripti ji saying that I'm doing Sankhya Karika and Kuldeep ji is amazing teacher. He simplifies the most complex subject in an amazing way. So Tripti ji, would you like to say this in your own words? If yes, raise your hand.
I think
Yes,
I'd like.
he wants to. Yeah,
Maybe you can show us
speak.
your, maybe if you like to show us your face also, that would be great. So that I'm sure this is not Chat GPT speaking.
No, I can do that. I'm not sure. I just
Okay.
like step out from the kitchen, like I'm making like food for my son. But yes, I really enjoyed, and I think I shared earlier also that I have studied yoga with so many schools over the years. But I never studied anywhere Samkhya Karika. Like you may have heard from various gurus on YouTube's, or like when you go and attend them live, like portion of it, but not really in detail. So I think we are really blessed. I think you are covering pretty much all the schools of philosophies in a structured way, and your academic background now gives us also the tools, especially now, right now, no, there is a really bad environment against us, against Hindus especially. So all the depth that you give, it gives us the really the idea to talk about this complex uh, subject, and also give us the confidence that the knowledge that Sanatana Dharma has is amazing. It's just like how people probably feel proud about Einstein's theory of relativity and Newton's laws of motions. Like, basically they changed the entire industrial world. It's the same way. If you want to move on the spiritual path, I think the Sanatana Dharma's all philosophy is like really structured way. So I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll be able to join this course. I'll have to work with
Oh.
Pratnyaji to see where I fit into the CPHS umbrella, and then I'll be on.
Oh,
Sure,
that would be
Tripti ji.
great to, that would be
Anytime.
great. And thanks for your words.
Yeah.
I'm sure these will encourage the other people who have joined today. They'll be inspired by you. And so believe me, if you study Mimamsa Darshan, it'll benefit you a lot. Most of you like, I think some of you like reading the Gita, etc. You find it difficult in certain ways. So if you do this, it'll become easy for you to understand the Gita. If you learn Sankhya, again it'll contribute. If you learn, see, it's like this. If you learn Sankhya, you can understand yoga very easily. So if you learn Sankhya and yoga, you'll understand Vedanta very easily. Right? And if you learn Nyaya and Vaisheshika, again it'll help you understand others. And of course, if you learn Mimamsa, so everything, you got a full package. And see, most of the time we have doubts about our whatever we read, our own scriptures, like even Bhagavad Gita, we have a lot of doubts. People say, what's this? Krishna is asking him to fight a war and all that. And so many people have problem with that. Now, the thing is, because we don't know the context, we don't know. Suresh Shenoyji has also something to say. Okay, yeah, maybe he can. If you, Suresh, if you wish
Sureshji,
to say, yeah. So these, once that logical reasoning is there, once the context is, there, then you will be able to answer. We don't know how to answer our own our own heritage. Somebody asks questions, we are unable to answer because we don't study our own scriptures properly. Just studying by book won't help. It has to be, for example, I want to study astrophysics. Do you think just buying a book, astrophysics for dummies, can I understand astrophysics? I'll get some idea, that's all. Or higher maths, I have to spend time with the teachers and take it seriously. Most of these scriptures like Sankhya philosophy, Gita, etc., many people do it as hobby. Retired officers, retired rich people, now they have nothing to do. Okay, let's do. So they read some translation of the Gita or some Upanishad somewhere, and then they add their own concoction. And That's not the way of doing it. It has to be learned properly, word by word. That's the only way of doing it. And then use your own intellect also, your own reasoning. What I learned from my gurus is the same thing. If I parrot, what's the use? I should use my own wisdom. I should restate it. What I learned from my gurus, what I learned from so many things. I learned from YouTube also. That's not the thing. But it's not just like that. It should be assimilated, and then I should be able to say it in my own words, in my own style, because everybody has their own style. If I start copying the style of Chinmayananda, Swami Chinmayananda, it won't do. It won't do. I have to say it in my own way. Some people may like it, some people may not like it. That's a different matter. Nobody likes, everybody cannot be universally liked. I told you in this one that no, every rishi has an opponent. Yes, our friend wanted, Shenoy ji wanted, if you'd like to,
Yeah.
if you'd like to say a few words, you may, Shenoy ji, because if it comes from you, it'll be more believable, I think.
Raise your hands if you would like to say a few words. In the meantime, Jitu ji, you have the question about recordings. I will connect with you later separately on this. All of you will get a recording of today's webinar and whichever webinar you all register for, whether or not you attend it. So in case there is any that you have missed, please write to us or you can write to me and I will share it with you. Yes, Suresh ji, you can unmute
Okay,
yourself.
just one more thing before.
Yeah.
Every class will be recorded.
Yes.
So you will get that class recording also. In case you miss a class, then you can always listen to the recording. Yes, Shenoy ji.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you again.
Yeah, same here.
I had
Same here.
your lessons on Gyan Darshan and others are still resonating every time I'm tongue tied like I am right now. I go back and refer to our classes.
That's very,
But
very. Yeah,
you
that's
are
the
a
way.
wealth.
That's the way.
You are a
Yes,
wealth
sir.
of knowledge, and that's part of the reason why I also signed up for today's webinar. And I was
Of
kind of
course.
curious as to when this class is being held. And if
16.
it'll help anybody else on the call, what I loved most about Demonji's pedagogy is that he likes interactive discussions a lot. So it gives you an opportunity to challenge some of the things he says and listen to his responses. So thank you very much.
Okay, right. Yeah, I don't like to give lectures. I tell you, all the friends who are here, it's not going to be a lecture. It's going to be an interaction. So you can always interrupt me while I'm teaching, and because and get your doubts cleared. And if I can answer, I try my best to answer to the best of my ability. Sometimes you may be convinced, sometimes some may not be convinced by my answer. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Yes, any other question?
I think you've answered this. Does the course include both Purva and Uttara, or this will be a two-part course?
No, it's not. It's only Purva Mimamsa. Uttara is, if you want Uttara Mimamsa, then we have a Vedanta class, which I take. Then you should go for that. This is only Purva Mimamsa. And again, it's not full. It's only about how to interpret that. It's not, we don't take everything about Purva Mimamsa because it's a huge thing. It's only how to understand Purva Mimamsa. And of course, if you understand this method properly, you can apply it to Uttar Mimamsa also. And any other thing, any other text, even non-Indian text. The method, just like mathematics, you can apply it anywhere. Just like logic, you can apply same logic which you learn, say, in Nyaya Darshana. It doesn't mean only for Astik Darshana. You can apply the same logic for your day-to-day, in your day-to-day life, in your work, in trying to understand. Let me tell you, while doing Nyaya Darshana, there is a friend, a student, an American student. She's Notice.
I think she's raised her hand, Eleanor.
Is she there?
Yes,
Yeah,
she wants to
there is
talk.
one more. There is one more. I forget. So she says, during that time, the American election was going on. Something was there, and they said, now, after you taught this Nyaya Darshana, we could see the flaws in the argument of all those various
Oh,
candidates.
you're talking
Yes.
about Ellen.
No, Ellen was
Huh?
no. There's another one. I forget. Some wood one said. I think she's there. Eastwood, no, not Eastwood. Some. So she said now she can understand her own. She applies the logic there. Yes, Eleanor wants to say something,
Yeah.
Sheila.
Yes, Eleanor. Eleanor, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I finally understood how. I just want to say that I had a lot of hunger for Indian philosophy in my life. And before, yes, I did find some books, somewhere more or less good, somewhere very bad, especially the darshanas. They are really terrible when you read them like this. And I would compare taking Kuldeepji's classes to reading all these books without having a structure or without having guidance about them, to getting honey instead of getting just pollens. So with Kuldeepji's classes, I finally saw the honey. I received the honey from these texts, and I could taste it and I could use it for nourishment. And it helped me not only understand the other darshanas, but many, many other things. And I use what I learned in this class through him, through his experience, his insight, his long practice of all this. I use it for my personal life a lot, and it has helped me immensely. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Eleanor
Eleanor.
J. Yeah. So it has, many have said that these things have helped them. For example, Sankhya, there is another student. So she's a psychotherapist. So she said whatever she learned in Sankhya and yoga, she could easily apply, in a to her therapeutic methods, and it really helped her to understand her patients. From Sankhya, can you believe the Sankhya philosophy and Vedanta philosophy? The three gunas of Sankhya helped her understand the personality of her students. So these philosophies are not just theories; they help you in your life. But you have to be patient, and you have to study. You have to do some self-study also. Regarding how much you have to study, that's the question. It's like, I want to be a billionaire, but how much should I work? So it would depend, how much money I want to make. If I want to be a billionaire, I have to work a lot. If I'm happy by being a millionaire, I have to work a little less. If I'm just happy by a few $1,000s, then I have to work even less. So number of hours is not that important. It's, you have to reflect on what was taught in class, because I'm not going to ask you to chant the sutras and all that in class. I'm not going to do that. I'm not, all that is not there. So whatever you have studied, you have to contemplate, you have to let it assimilate, you have to think about it, and that's the way to go. And once you taste, once you start liking it, then you will yourself study more. Don't you think? You'll yourself take more courses, not necessarily with me, but there are so many other teachers. So you'll yourself do that. And believe me, the deeper you go, the more you love it. It'll be, very nice. It'll enrich your life. It'll make you see things differently. It is all the matter of seeing. These darshanas say it's only how you look at the world. The same world which is appearing miserable now will start appearing very nice if you change the viewpoint. So it's only the viewpoint that has to be changed. That's all. And don't have to read many books initially. The notes that I give you should be enough. All the notes, whatever I teach in class, you'll get a PDF. If you just study that, initially that will be enough. After the course, you may study more.
All right, and we
It
can end now.
starts on
Yeah.
July. It starts on July 16 for
July
you,
16th.
for Americans.
Yes.
Time,
And
could you tell them the time, please?
yeah, I will share the complete course
No,
detail.
right now, straight away.
Yeah. I
It's
will
morning.
tell the. No, for US people, it is 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Eastern. For people who are in India, it would be 6:30 a.m. on Thursday. For US people, it's Wednesday, July 16 to September 24th.
Oh, very nice. Okay, any other question, please? You may interact. There are some comments here, but it will take time for me to read all that. How yoga achieve anything? I don't know. There's so many things. How do I answer this now? It will take another 1 hour if I have to go through all this. So what I mean is the proof of the pudding lies in its eating. So
Yes.
don't dismiss something without, first you eat it and eat it from a proper chef, not a ready-made food or packed food and all that. Don't do that. Tin food. You ideally, and these days there are so many people who are teaching. So it's not necessary that you have to be present. Ideally, you should go to a teacher. Stay somewhere there so that you can interact with the teacher. But if that's not possible, then online is the next best option. But live sessions like this, even pre-recorded one can help you, but in pre-recorded you can't ask questions. That's the problem. So if it's a live session, at least that's the next best thing. You can learn from the comfort of your home and from any teacher, from any part of the world. That's a big thing. Very, we don't realize what a boon it is with these online classes.
All right.
And
Yes, Kuldeep, do you have any closing
yeah,
remarks?
just so if there are no more, okay. Yeah, I've already said you only take up this course, then you'll understand how important it is. And uh, what else? Thanks for joining. I hope to see most of you in class, which begins on July
16.
16. So that would be great. Yes, you
And
may. Some
we
question?
can
What is
close
it?
this
Question
if yeah,
answer?
there are no more questions, and we will follow up with all of you. If you have any questions for Kuldeep ji, we can have them addressed later. And if you have planning to register, if you have any questions related to registrations, you're most welcome to respond to our emails or calls that you'll be receiving in a day or two. Thank you so very much, all of you, for taking your time and to listen to this lovely presentation by Kuldeep ji. Thank you, Kuldeep ji. Always a pleasure to host you.
Thanks. So, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Namaste.
Pragya ji, for anchoring it. Bye-bye. Namaste to all of you.
Namaste, everyone.
Yeah, I would urge atheists also to they'll you don't have to be even if you're an atheist. In fact, you will also benefit. Okay, namaste.
Namaste, everyone.